tip that we're going to talk about here is identifying transition. So when you're all of a sudden starting and you're lined up, you're here in the pocket, but then you start seeing your ball getting like flat tens or your ball start coming up high, you got to be able to trust your game, because one of the most common mistakes is like people think they're throwing it bad and they just don't move for the whole game, and that ends up being a bad game. So one of the key things for identifying transition is you start seeing your ball come up high, or suddenly your ball's hooking too early and doesn't get to the pocket, doesn't recover as well. So that's a sign that you need to make an adjustment. So here are some of the adjustments that you can make when you start seeing transition. So let's say your ball start coming up high, you most likely gonna want to move towards the middle part of the lane, because in the middle part of the lane, on a typical house shot, is where the most oil is gonna be. So you need to get closer to that oil so the ball kind of recovers the original reaction that you had at the beginning. So when it comes to moving your feet and your target, one of the most common moves that I like to use, usually I like to make my standard move whenever I leave like a 4-pin or my balls are going a little high, I like to do a 2-and-1. So why a 2-and-1? So if I move 2 with my feet, it's gonna help me to move my body closer to where the oil is in the middle part of the lane. But also, if I'm only move 1, I'm gonna keep my ball in that oil. Like, it's gonna help me to keep that ball in the middle part of the lane, but also sending it with an angle to the friction. Because sometimes we move like 3 boards and we keep our target the same, so now all of a sudden our alignment is gonna get out of place because the target is so far off of where I'm standing. So you just gotta make sure you keep moving your feet and your eyes at the same moment.
Couple of keys here to think about when you're gonna try to stop throwing the ball and you're really gonna roll the ball. One thing that we really want to focus on is that release. So when we talk about rolling the ball, really what we're talking about is having a bit more touch at the release. Generally, having a bit more forward roll. When we start to get crazy and we really start to chuck the ball, we really start to throw the ball, our hand starts getting around the ball, we're not really focused about how we're releasing it, and as a result, we're not getting great results, we're not getting great ball motion out on the lanes. And so one thing that we want to focus on here is obviously you want to relax, you want to have a nice loose arm swing that's going to allow you to repeat those shots and to be accurate, and we want to focus on that release. So another key thing to think about when it comes to rolling the ball instead of throwing the ball is where the ball is landing out on the lanes. When we start throwing the ball and really just chucking it, you start to see the ball get airborne and go out to the dots or maybe even the arrows. And of course, we don't want that when it comes to consistency. And of course, also, when people start chucking the ball, the swing gets really steep and the ball starts slamming into the lane. All of these things, whether it's throwing the ball in the air, lofting the ball too much, or getting the ball too far into the lane too quickly, that's going to lead to a lot of inconsistencies in your physical game and your overall ball reaction. So what we want, what the goal is we want to barely hear that ball hit the lane when you release it. You want to have a nice, gentle release when it comes to transferring the ball from your hand onto the lane. And we don't want to baby it, of course, right? We still want to get through that release aggressively. We still want to have that power, but it's doing it in the right way with a relaxed upper body and a loose arm swing that's going to allow you to get the most out of your shot.
All right, guys, so one of the most important things in the game of bowling is actually aim. So you can have the most gifted physical game, you can have a lot of rev rate, you can be one of the best bowlers in the world, but if you don't know where to place that bowling ball, it can be really hard for you to have success on the lanes. So today we're gonna go over a simple targeting system that can help you improve your scores. All right, guys, so this system is widely used among bowlers. It features 3-step targeting system. So what we're gonna focus on first is like a focal point, and then you wanna have to know where is your break point and then your visual target. So with this targeting system, you're gonna start up all the way up to the pins, and then you're gonna draw a line all the way up to you. So it's gonna create an intended path for you where you wanna throw the bowling ball. So the first thing to figure out with this targeting system is you wanna know where your break point or exit point is gonna be. So that means where the ball is gonna exit at the pattern. So for this, there is a simple formula that we mentioned before in this channel, which is the rule of 31. So basically, we're gonna take the length of the pattern that we're bowling on, and then you're gonna subtract 31, and that's gonna give us an intended break point that we should have the ball. So that's gonna be a great starting point to use this system. So our focal point is going to be one of the pins. So for example, it's going to be, if you want to have like a wide angle, it's going to be the 10 pin. But if you want to keep it closer to the pocket, it's going to be maybe the 3 pin if you're right-handed. All right guys, so now that we have the focal point and the break point, we just gotta draw a line all the way back to ourselves. And for me, I'm gonna use the arrows as my visual cue to figure out where to aim. So for some people, it might be the dots, because it's gonna be easier to hit the arrows or the dots than if you try to hit the intended pad all the way to the pins. So it's just very important to draw back that line that you see in your mind and then take it through that arrow and just simple aim and shoot. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please let us know in the comments what other videos would you like to see in this channel. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.